not live, but NVIDIA is recording our thoughts. Anyway, we are on the pole by a second. It's, yeah, from the
That's
future.
okay. I mean, Bill Gates is going to get no intel out of me, so
Alright, no pre-race intro in this game. Really don't want to get too far out ahead. Like I was telling Ash before you went to the bathroom, there's no like actual fuel gauge in this game, so pit strategy is going to be a little more difficult. So you can't just be like, okay, 0.2 gallons remaining, pit this lap.
spooky.
Yeah, what's also spooky is the AI is sometimes not really calibrated with my gear ratio, so this always happens in EA plate tracks. You get roasted on the first lap.
No, I just think that's a massive skill issue, to be fair.
Yeah, I didn't hold down the right pedal hard enough.
I think you might have been touching the middle one a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so it doesn't have a fuel gauge, but it has a draft meter. Fantastic.
You know what, though?
Realism.
It's kind of... Hear me out. This is going to sound really stupid. It's kind of realistic. Not completely realistic, but when you're in the car, you would be able to feel and hear the wind buffeting against the car.
Cool.
And you could kind of sense if you're in the draft or not, so the draft meter is like a visualization of that, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's not super realistic, but you know, like, they can feel that.
So I wonder how accurate it is in F1 2017 when you open the DRS and go.
It might be realistic to some degree.
I doubt it. There's a cool effect. What?
Degree. Opening the DRS. To some degree. It's a pun.
I see. Let us know down in the comments below if you actually got that.
Well, one of us is awake.
It ain't me.
That's Clint Boyer, I think, in the 2 car. The AC Delco car.
Good.
Did you just call him Clip Boyer?
No, I just misspoke.
That's a naughty word, Ash. Got him demonetized now.
I didn't consent to this
I'm just
recording.
hanging out.
Yeah, you're just hanging out, being hung out to dry by the look of it. Actual funny pun.
Nah.
Yeah, and this was like the height of bushwhacking, so like that's Kenseth behind us, Kenny Wallace is in the Stacker 2 car, Harvick is the 21 Reese's car. I don't know who's leading right now, but...
Who up whacking they Busch?
I mean, I guess I could make a run.
I just made some runs. I had a burger and a kebab earlier.
Oh, no.
Eh.
It's a go-kart repair shop car in front of me.
That's
kind of cool.
Interesting.
Kind of cool. Yeah, there's a lot of fantasy drivers in the minor ranks in these games.
Business is good if you're sponsoring a Busch car off a kart repair shop.
Yeah,
The
I'll just
irony
say
of
that.
a repair shop sponsoring a real race.
We are not clear.
Wipe your glasses. Oh, what are you doing? That was spectacular.
Yeah. And the apron's slippy in this game, too.
Do you
So you
remember
can-
when we were plate racing on NRO3 and like I moved out from behind a guy at the same time you were moving out from behind me, so we both moved out together, and I just saw you wiggling up in my mirror like.
NASCAR 03 co-op is so good.
Yeah. You just load AI into it. Like we had the most amazing truck race at Iowa, and then the most amazing cup race at Iowa.
I can't tell if I'm getting... So the draft meter actually works both ways. It's just overall draft, and you can actually get help from behind. So I don't know if I'm picking up a draft from the 5 of Kyle Busch or the 17 of Kenseth. But I have some sort of tow. Like right
I
now.
have 10 of those.
Oh, someone blew up. Don't know who that was. Probably a fantasy car. No, that's the 60 of Carl Edwards from the charter car.
Carl, no. Oh, God. I miss Carl Edwards. I hope he's having a lovely day, doing whatever makes him happy.
He was invited to. I guess you missed this because you weren't watching NASCAR back then. But he was very recently invited to run in a practice session
Yep.
Ooh.
for Kyle Larson, and he, I think, jokingly was like, I think he thought it was a joke. And then a reporter asked him about it, and he was like, well, I haven't had the official invite, but yeah, I'd be interested in it. It'd be fun.
God wills it. Please deliver us Carl Larson. So, Austin, what were your thoughts on the 2025 Spring Phoenix Cup race, which transpired earlier today?
It was one of the races of all time.
I agree. NASCAR finally has been made do as far go as do look like.
I think... So, a lot of people hate... It's kind of cool I'm recording this for YouTube because I can get my thoughts out in full. There are a lot of people who are not happy with the Gen 7 car for various reasons. I think
Me.
I think it's been great. I think the actual issue has nothing to do with the car. It's that, like, NASCAR was not meant to be this hyper-engineered. Like, the reason it worked in the 90s is because, like, every driver was coming from, like, completely different racing backgrounds. And, like, every mechanic had, like, 1 or 2 special tricks up their book, so there's a lot more disparity. And, like, when a team would find something, they would go on, like, a hot streak and just, like, reinvent the sport kind of thing, and it was just interesting. NASCAR worked when people didn't know what they were doing. But now, like, everyone's coming into it understanding how to manipulate the air. Everyone's doing, like, a cajillion laps on the simulator throughout the week. Every team has figured out everything. Like, once all the teams learn what coil binding is, you know? Once all the teams learn how to manipulate the air, it's like NASA-level funding and research into making cars go around fast in a circle. And it's made it too even, and there's too much parity. So, like...
Almost, yeah.
So it's
like
too
esports
even.
in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's become almost like hyper-meted like an esport. So, like, now you go to Martinsville, it's hard to pass because, you know, even guys like Cody Ware are coming into it with like 1 million practice laps and a team that just knows everything about the car. And everything that could have possibly been learned about the car has been learned about the car. So like we've experienced when we run in like really like high level AC races or stuff like that, you're sitting in 5th place and you're like, how the fuck do I pass the guy in front of me? Whereas 25, 30 years ago, you know, there was such a disparity in cars and tech and driving abilities and strengths and weaknesses between drivers that like passes happen pretty organically.
Mm.
Now it's just an esport. So the way to fix it, I think, is not the car, but or the track schedule or things like that, but like you would have to design a car basically with 2,000 horsepower, and that was almost like borderline impossible to drive. To get it back to where you had like organic passes and just like crazy unpredictability, you know, which like you can't realistically do because of insurance policies and things like that. You can't have 270-mile-an-hour stock cars. Like, this is not going to happen, bro. But you have to, for whatever they do for Gen 8 or Gen 7.5, you have to address the fact that the teams are treating this like an esport, and your drivers are coming into it with like ridiculous amounts of practice time. Like we built, what was the EA slogan back 25 years ago? Like, we literally built cyber athletes. We engineered an entire generation of drivers in a lab to be prepared for absolutely everything.
Mm.
And now it's just made it so, like, yeah, you have to push ungodly hard the entire stint and maybe you pass one car.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, it's the rise of simulation on all fronts. It's not just actual driver simulation, but you've got stuff like CFD.
Yep.
You've got suspension simulators. You know, you see the cars sort of on these rockers on each tire that like bounce up and down, and it's like you see this car just sort of randomly having an aneurysm in the middle of the shop. You're like, what the fuck's that doing? It's running like 1,000 laps at Martinsville.
Yep.
And, you know, they're getting all the data and probably combining, you know, the suspension sim with the driver and loop simulator to just hone it down perfectly. Whereas in like 2006, you know, it was just, I don't know, it really was sort of the best.
There was craftsmanship to it, and now it's like you essentially have 40 cyborgs in a race, all of which have NASA level funding from their teams.
Exactly, like for Race of Champions, I was quick out the gate, but I eventually got caught up by all the grinders, if you remember that.
Yep.
You know, like myself and this other guy, Hampus, I think we were quite ahead for a bit. And, you know, the people who would eventually end up making it were quite low down the order. But then they were able to grind to sort of catch back up to us. And, yeah, it's that grind that's sort of being replicated in all this simulation and all that kind of thing. So now everyone's good out the gate. And it's removed the skill gap.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying, like, I was far from the best, but like,
yeah, racing just evolves in that regard. You know, as you can't unlearn things, and even when you take the simulation aspect out of it, think of how people used to watch races before 2006, before home PCs became like widespread. You know, if it's 1994 and you're like Darrell Waltrip or Dale Earnhardt and you want to watch back a race, you know, you have to get Teresa to fucking record the race on TV with like a VHS tape, and sit there and rewind and fast forward and like find shit, you know, on your VHS player or your VCR, and be like, oh, that guy got a good run off the corner. But like, it's tedious to be like, okay, Jeff Bodine beat me out of the corner here. I got to make sure the TV cameras are focused on me. I got to compare this. I got to manually like take a stopwatch to the fucking TV and be like, okay, he ran that lap, I ran that lap, and it. Like, just extracting like small amounts of data that we take for granted from sim racing just with the abundance of cameras nowadays was like painful and shitty. Now it's like, you know, if you want to find, let's say you're Ross Chastain and you want to find where Joey Logano beat you. I'm just using two random drivers, for example, no bearing on anything. It's like, oh yeah, we'll check one of 18 onboard cameras and we'll check the telemetry that's outputted officially to our servers that we can check during the middle of the race. Like, you couldn't do that in 94.
No way.
So now once you start gaining data from that, and start learning things, like you can't unlearn them. So now the entire field is going into it with like insane amounts of like research and tech that like we couldn't even conceive of 25 years ago. So the sport of stock car racing, where it was just like, hey, let's build simple cars and put big engines in them and just rip around an oval because it's kind of fun and like weird and crazy and big crashes happen sometimes. Now it's like the entire sport has been solved at like a metaphysical level. It's just stupid.
Yep. Yep. They've gotten too advanced. Don't worry about him.
So again, the only way to fix it is to build these like wacky, out of control, almost like Can-Am-esque cars. And
But
F1,
that will never happen.
yeah, and you can't, because even without the
like the
insurance
Gen
things, good luck making
Yeah.
a good luck making a car that, you know, it has
They had
1,500, 2,000 horsepower. You
Well,
know,
not
like
that, but,
like
you know.
how do you make a car to challenge Max Verstappen? Like, you literally have to try and kill him. And you're just not going to do that because, like, homie, like, the insurance won't like that. You know? Let's go for a run.
No.
I just don't like the Gen 7. I just think they changed too much of the fundamentals of what makes NASCAR NASCAR. Like having these cars which are kind of archaic, especially on a road course. Like tripoding around the corners and stuff. And now we just have like GT3 2.
It's
You can
it's
see
kind of like
this era.
GT3 in a V8 supercar.
Yeah, I would say they're more Aussie supercar than anything, which is why that's probably a big reason why SVG came over.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But like we already have that. And
Yeah.
it's doing great. And it's its own thing. So we don't need that. NASCAR was NASCAR because of what it was.
Well, and even the Gen 6, there wasn't a lot of support for it. Like, it was not a good car for a lot of its lifespan. It was weird, it was slow, it was boxy.
It was a NASCAR though.
Yeah. Well, I remember reading on Speed, like, someone said 2014 was, like, the last year of stock cars as we know it. Because, like, the sport's going to go the way of, like, neutering everything and then eventually changing it so it's a Gen 7, like, pre-built kind of thing. Like, the craftsmanship was going to be taken out of it.
Like, there are people who have been driving NASCARs for 20 years plus. And then, like, 1 year it's just like they go back to work. And the entire car is just a completely different animal. Like,
Yeah.
everything about it is just so different.
Yeah, and it's basically like
Like
a GT3 car that, like, the tire sidewalls and...
Yeah, to change from a solid rear axle to independent suspension everywhere is just such a wild difference.
Alright, so spotter red out halfway on fuel at lap 21, so it's about 40 laps on a tank. Now some of that is kind of aided by the draft. I think I've got one extra lap out of this stint so far. I definitely agree it was too radical of a change. I don't mind the way they look, though.
Oh, they look cool. They just suck at everything else. Especially crashing. They really suck at crashing.
Yeah, that first year, I can't believe how many people got hurt.
Yeah, that fucking car ended my guy's career. I'm still not very happy about it. Kurt Busch.
The biggest one they avoided was that Talladega wreck where like a piece of the roll cage like bent inwards, and had the driver compartment been on the other side, it would have pierced the driver area.
Yep.
What was that, 2022 Talladega or something like that? That was spooky, man.
Mm-hmm.
You mean Ryan Newman's crash?
Not Newman's. It was like a spring Talladega race where someone got clocked in the door and like the entire cage on that side just folded in.
I think I remember this.
I don't remember who got hit. Was it Kyle Larson, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
It was a really cloudy Talladega race, and someone got clocked in the door.
I vaguely remember seeing the photos.
Yeah, it was 2023
That's it.
Talladega between Larson and Priest.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's always Ryan Priest.
Yeah. Preliminary indications are that Ryan Priest was doing approximately 140 miles an hour at the time of impact, T-boning Kyle Larson's door.
Oh, yeah. I remember now. The onboard footage from his car was terrifying.
Yeah, I'm watching it now.
It's the sort of like you watch it and
Oh,
your body tenses up.
shit. Yeah, I just saw it. Holy
Yeah.
Here we go. God damn. Yeah, Kyle Larson would have died if he was on the other side of the car.
Yeah. They got
100%.
really lucky.
Well, I mean, they do have more strengthening on the driver's side.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah,
a bit-
but at that
been
speed,
good.
I don't know, man.
It's one of those unstoppable force versus immovable object things, right?
yeah.
And I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
even
that's-
if the roll bars didn't like crumple or anything, and it did hold up, you know, that kind of a hit, you know, you're in between a rock and a hard place because you know
Yep.
you want the speed to be absorbed by a crumple zone, but you don't want a crumple zone because you are the crumple zone. So, you know, if you hit a rock solid cage, then it's gonna be like just as bad because. God, that kind of hit would suck. But motor racing's dangerous. That's what they sign up for. But yeah, super lucky that he wasn't going the other way. Just like Max losing his tyre in Baku. You know, because if he spun the other way and went side on into the end of the pit wall, would have been terrible. That Goodyear blimp is massive.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's gigantic. Either that or it's really low. Don't lose the draft.
It's pretty strong in this game, but yeah, I gotta try not to. Seems like Mark Martin is dominating. We're running okay. I don't like how split up the pack got, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's due to driver ratings, other times it's just due to how this game, this plate racing pans out. I don't mind it. This is kind of how these races actually did play out. Like, if you watch the
Yeah.
04 Daytona 500, which would have been a year before this game, there's 4 cars at the end of it who have a chance. And it literally is, it's like, let me see if I get this right. It's the 8 of Dale Jr., Tony Stewart's behind him, Kurt's in 3rd, and then Scott Wimmer's in 4th, and it was just them for like the final stint in a line. So this is pretty close. It's not exciting, but it's close. Already clicked off like a quarter of the race. Goes by quick. Where was Monster Jam at this weekend?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Arlington, I
Always
think, maybe?
Jacksonville and Arlington, I believe.
We went to my buddy Chris's house and we watched Supercross and then UFC after. It's alright.
Nice.
Indy was crazy.
Yeah, I don't really get to watch those because I'm invariably at my girlfriend's house when they're on, but I need to convince her to start watching. But it shouldn't be hard because I mean we're really amped up about going to WSX later on in the year and kind of talking about going to Arena Cross and Enduro Cross as well,
Oh,
which
Enduro
is
Cross would be sick.
oh my god, it's so cool. Billy Bolt 57, that's my guy. I've decided. And there's a good turnout at them too, because I've been getting a lot of it on my Instagram feed, and the stands are kind of packed in the arenas. It's good. Yeah, WSX is the big one. Hopefully, Tomac's Fib heals up in good time, so we can see him back at that. Because I mean, I really want to see him, but he loves WSX as well. So
That's like their playoffs. Like, they kind of combined the seasons, didn't they? Indoor and outdoor now? Or, like, how
yeah,
does this work?
well, WSX is a completely different thing from Feld.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like its own independent, like international Supercross championship.
Okay.
Feld is SMX, the Super Motocross,
That's what I'm
which
thinking of.
that is the combined Supercross and outdoor season.
That's
So
what I'm thinking of.
yeah, no, WSX is its own thing. It's a small startup sort of thing, kind of.
Okay.
And yeah, like I was there for the inaugural race in Cardiff, and they've been to Abu Dhabi. They've been to God, loads of other places, but it's still like in its infancy. It's sort of like MLMT,
Oh, I got you.
but it's actually sort of working.
Seems like guys are pitting, but you don't need to. Yeah, I think I was telling you the other day that my buddy grew up and raced with Dean Wilson, I think it was. And
Oh yeah,
it's in his Wikipedia too. Like, he was born in the UK, but he moved to Calgary um, in like '99 with his family, and he's roughly the same age as my friend. So it's like, oh yeah, it's like whatever West Coast tour he was on that went through Alberta and BC, my friend raced with him, and they all had
that's
like little
sick.
when they're all like 14, 15, they all had like little sponsorships together and stuff like that. And he's like,
Yeah, that's
he's like,
pretty
it
sick.
wasn't big, but like engine rebuilds. He's like, I got sponsored by a local Yamaha dealer, I think it was.
Yeah. It's crazy the amount of people who sort of know each other because they grew up so and so like
Yeah.
racing at an amateur level because there's a YouTube channel I follow, Cade Matherley,
Yeah.
who's an MX Sim YouTuber and he rides in real life, but a while back, he was well, he might still amateur race, I don't know, but a while back he was amateur racing or just otherwise out there on a dirt bike. And he became friends with none other than a fresh to the US, Jet Lawrence. And it's sort of like this little sort of hidden away cache
Yeah.
of really cursed Jet Lawrence content because they're just sat in Discord playing MX Sim, and Jet will come in just making stupid noises on the mic, annoying the fuck out of everyone, twerking on webcam, all that kind of thing. And no one really knows because Cade isn't the biggest channel ever,
Yeah.
but it is wild.
Yeah, because he's young, so like he would have been playing MX Sim with those guys when he was like 13 or 14, you know?
Oh yeah,
And like it's not
yeah.
that long ago.
It's like how the current crop of Monster Jam drivers basically grew up playing Rigs of Rods now.
Yep.
And the Monster Jam social admin actually made mention of Rigs of Rods the other day.
Yeah, that was
Like there
really
was some
cool.
crazy save or something, yeah. And Cole Davies in the 250 class, he actually mentions openly that he played MX bikes, the other night to get a feel for the track and
Yep.
all that, because the aerial tracks come out on the Friday, so he can he can run press day and then run MX bikes in his hotel room on the Friday night on his
Yep.
laptop and
Learn
just grind
everything, or at least get the eyesight
yeah.
right. Yep.
And the only thing that stops it becoming like what we just talked about with NASCAR is that, you know, you can't really simulate a motorcycle. There isn't a motorcycle sim rig that will fully give you the experience. Because, you know, you become part of the bike. It's not like a car where you're
Yep.
basically sat in a chair and you're turning a wheel and pressing pedals, but there's so much more to a bike.
They just kind of like grind out test laps at whatever their private compounds are, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah, no, they're always riding on their own compounds. Everyone seems to have one, or they go to Baker Factory or something like that. But yeah, just MX bikes being openly mentioned on the podium and in the press conference after. Like, yeah, I'll drive the track on MX bikes, got a feel for it, turn the E-road down to 0, got a feel for the track I had here tonight. He's a good kid. I like Cole Davies. I actually quite like Hayden Deegan as well.
Yeah, Hayden's good stuff.
He's fast and like, yeah, he's just seems like a good dude. Like the sort of, I would go as far as saying Hayden is like almost like the Max Verstappen of Supercross. Like, just kind of next level. So it's going to be Jet Lawrence versus Deegan. It's going to be, you know, the new Reed versus Stewart. But hopefully not before Kenny gets a championship. Like, I'd really love this to be Ken Roxon's year.
Yeah.
Because he's my other guy. It's Tomac and Roxon for me. And Lawrence. I like Jet Lawrence. And Deegan. Those are like my 4 sort of guys I look out for. And so, you know, the first round of WSX, like, Roxon and Tomac just destroying the field. It was so good. And in my favorite stadium.
Get off the
Why
wall.
are you in the wall?
Get off the wall.
Right,
Yeah.
everyone dislike, unsubscribe.
Yeah. It wore the tires down a shitload. And just stopped turning. So I guess tires
You
are...
don't need to pit. You don't need to pit. I'm Austin Organowski. You don't need to pit.
But I needed to make that goal anyway. Of 40 laps. So we'll see where we shake out here.
Yeah. Imagine if you wheel hopped and spun into the barrier and just then string.
Pain. Yeah, so I lost probably 2 seconds on the Delta from that, but... See how we do.
Sick
That
cutscene.
stuff is janky as hell.
Come on, man. It's 2006.
05.
2005. That was cool for 2005.
It was pretty good.
Nah.
We are still leading.
I mean,
Budget
yeah,
for
there's
this
Gran
game?
Turismo
Come
4, but
They couldn't even
don't merge
animate
yet.
the wheels turning.
Don't merge yet.
That was a dick move. I trapped the AI behind me. I mean, they're going to fly by me, but...
Deserved. I hope one of them pits maneuvers you into the fucking wall. Right hooks you, ends your career. Look at Jimmy. You're holding up Jimmy.
I mean, I'm not in the Cup Series, so that
He's
is
gonna
Kyle
be
Busch.
All
That's
right.
a very young Kyle Busch.
I just exposed myself horribly there, but
Yeah.
I see mid 2000 Lowe's car. Man says Jimmy Johnson, but yeah, it is the 5. I see now. My excuse is I'm English, so therefore I don't know anything about no NASCAR.
Watching a single, like, lapped car get caught up by a 3 wide, like, 8 deep field at Daytona was pretty scary.
Oh yeah,
I
because you were
bet.
there for the 500. Yeah. So you see the
Yeah,
closing rate, right?
every single, like every time they go past, the gap between the one car and the pack gets slightly smaller, and you're just like, oh boy, this is the one. Here it comes. And you see them all like squeezed together. You must be so terrified to be that single car on your own, just watching them come behind you.
How was the Daytona trip? Tell the world about your Daytona adventure. That was your first
You know.
NASCAR race, right?
Go big. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'd like to do more. I didn't expect to. I didn't expect to want to do it again as much as I do. Because like, I like watching the races. I like watching them on TV because I like seeing
Yeah.
the stats and what's going on and stuff like that. So this was kind of watching it as a spectator sport rather than following it as a, as a normal race. And I did feel like there was a bit of frustration because I wanted to have the broadcast there, so I knew what was going on, because it's a lot harder to follow.
Well, you could have had your smartphone open, right?
And yeah,
And had like the stream on.
yeah, there was no coverage at all.
Data's
Nobody-
always shit at racetracks.
Nobody in our group could get anything at all to load.
I got
It's a
you.
real shame. But I mean, like, you've got the commentary there in person, and you've got the big screens,
Yep.
which show you a little bit, but you just don't get all that background information about, like, oh, 2 laps ago we heard this on the radio. You don't get any of that.
Gambling odds.
Which is like, yeah, gambling. And I do miss having that, but the atmosphere and everything else definitely makes up for it. And I mean, Daytona of all places, it's pretty easy to see who's winning. You just look through your binoculars and see who's at the front.
Who does the track commentary, like the PA announcer? Was that Rick Allen still? Because I know he did Bowman Gray.
No, it's Daytona's own
Okay.
crew. I don't know their names, but
Or maybe it was
But,
the
like-
MRN crew.
well, that was actually kind of one of the funny things. Is like throughout the whole race, we only heard those people announcing. Like, we didn't get to hear Mike Joy and everyone in the booth. So it felt like we weren't watching the legit Daytona 500. It was like,
That's weird.
it doesn't feel like the real thing,
I have
Yeah, it was
just
cool.
noticed, I'm sorry to inform you, I have just noticed the right side edge of your modified steering wheel PNG
Has a
is
line
still
on
there.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's actually a bug with PCSX2, and there's a couple textures like that. It's something you have to.
excuses.
Yeah.
You just can't use Photoshop. It's okay. It's
No,
okay,
but
buddy.
even on the default wheel, it does that too.
Oh no.
Yep. Yep. There's a fix that I just never turned on in the options. Because I mean, the game still looks pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, but that line makes it literally unplayable.
Yeah.
I'm taking my copy of NASCAR 05 back to CEX, getting a £1.24 refund. I refuse to call it sex. I know that's how it's pronounced, but I'm not saying I'm going to the sex shop.
What about Kex?
Kex. Yeah, that works. I was so tempted. I was in town, and it was sort of just after COVID time when we were all let out again, and you still had to queue to get into shops because they only allowed so many people in at a time. But there was a queue for Kex, and I was so tempted to go up to the back of the line and just be like, "Hey, you queuing up for sex too?" But there was a woman on the end of the line, so I didn't want to get arrested or anything. You know
I
how
bet
the
you
world is
someone made that
nowadays.
joke like 10 times.
Yeah, to her, she's like, fucking 10th guy today. I like sex. Sex is great.
We have Used to be called EB Games, but eventually they rebranded to GameStop. Same company. Electronics boutique.
We have a geek shop in town that's like old consoles, loads of model cars and stuff,
Yeah.
but the prices, they have a closing down sale right now, and the prices are unbelievable. Like, they
Yeah.
are selling in there an Alfa Romeo Hot Wheels that my girlfriend bought me for like the normal Hot Wheels price of like £1.24 or whatever.
Yep.
And in there, the same car, which is still being made and is still on store shelves, and they were basically scalping it for fucking £3-4.
So
Like, no wonder you're shutting down. Stay out of business.
That is what's actually happening on our end too with like retro gaming stores. So I'm sure you guys have like GameStop in like bigger cities and EB Games. It's probably called GameStop still in the UK.
Maybe we have
called
like
Game.
game.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. So if you remember maybe 10 years ago when they were just trying to get rid of their PS2 inventory and like original Xbox inventory, you could get pretty much every game for like $1. It was crazy.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I remember I had a PS2 and then eventually I got a backwards compatible PS3. I'd walk in with like a budget of $20 just because I'm like, what can I get for $20? And you'd get like old Maddens for like 47 cents, like just stupid shit. Yeah. So you could just like amass like a small and insane library of PS2 games for like nothing. And then once the stock got depleted from GameStop, and like they stopped selling PS2 and Xbox One and GameCube games, when the retro game stores popped up like a year or two later and they had like a library of PS1 and PS2 shit, they jacked the prices up to like $40 a game.
That's smelly.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, no one is paying like $29.99 for Madden 08. Like that is dumb.
Yep.
I literally have like my box copy of Madden 01 on PS2 is legit 47 cents, and you try and go to Game or GameStop or whatever now, and it's just like borderline inappropriate. So I get if it's like a pristine copy of like Mario 64, like that was unsealed, or
Sealed.
has like
Unsealed means it's opened.
oh yeah,
I know what you
sorry,
mean.
sealed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to.
How
Yeah.
high are you right now?
It's wearing off. Oh my God, Clint Boyer's going for the lead. Oh, he's got it. Clint's in the
Go
lead.
Clint.
It's getting spicy now. Yeah, like it was pretty egregious, and now especially with like emulation just being so widespread and it runs so well on so many people's computers, hence like what we're doing right now. It's like, dude, I'm not paying like $29 for NASCAR 06. Like this is dumb.
No.
So yeah, there's definitely
Yeah,
like price gouging.
I was about to say maybe I should go into sex to play with Clip, but no.
Stop. The only thing like that justifies some of those prices if like the game is an actual like collector's edition, or like there's like a Prima Games strategy guide, or like some of the bells and whistles that came with like collector's edition releases. Then it's like, yeah, I'd pay like $150 for like, let's say like a Halo collector's edition with like some figurines and stuff. But
yeah.
no, like Madden 09 for $20, like no.
Nope.
A little stupid.
To be fair, the prices in KEX are still pretty good. Like, there are some games that are rarer than others, like Simpsons Hit and Run. You will be sort of paying those sort of upscale prices for, but you can go into KEX and find like all the old shit, the less rare stuff for like £1 or $2. It's really good.
What is the rarest console game you guys have?
Well, I don't know off the top of my head. Oh, like the one we personally have.
Yeah, that you personally have.
Let me wander over and look at my collection. Ow.
Just making conversation as we approach the halfway point of the race, because at the end of the day, I'm just riding until the final 10.
Yeah, we need to keep that viewer retention up. Don't click off the video. I'll find you.
I have a PS1 drag racing game, which is called Drag Stars. and that's probably, I don't think anyone else bought that game.
No, I think I've heard of that. It's like shovelware, isn't it?
It's pretty garbage.
Yeah.
Man. So I don't have like rare games as such, but what I do have is a fair amount of demo discs that
Oh,
came
yeah.
with like PS2 magazines and stuff like that.
Yep.
One came with my console, which I still have, and the others, you know, I just collected from the dump and stuff like that.
Yep.
And yeah, it's like
That
you
absolutely
have
fits.
we have these unique sort of pre-release versions. Like I have a demo of SSX3 where it's really not complete.
That's cool.
And yeah, and oh, what else? Yeah, there are a couple of Stuntman levels where things are different, and Stuntman itself is quite an obscure game. You know, the Reflections Ubisoft driving game, which was a test bed for Driver 3.
Yep.
So yeah, there's the demo was based around the Scarab of Lost Souls, the level with the Jeep, and you can just tell that some textures are different, some, you know, a lot of all that stuff.
That's really cool. No, that
It
definitely
really
fits.
is.
That fits.
Yeah. I'm gonna go dig them out and just see what is on these demo discs.
Yeah, I had, when I got my original Xbox, probably the middle of middle school, so 05, 06, I was quite late to the party. Like, I literally got it, and I think it was because it was on sale right as the 360 came out. So I'm like, Mom, can I have... And it had a lot of games that the GameCube didn't. Like, I was a GameCube kid, but the thing is, like, because the disc didn't have the capacity as, like, a normal Xbox DVD, there were just, like, some releases the GameCube didn't get. So, like, you'd get one NASCAR game every 3 years as opposed to every year, which is kind of why I moved over. Same with, like, NCAA football and stuff. But, yeah, when I got into the Xbox, when I got my Xbox, I started getting, like, OXM, official Xbox magazine demo discs, and it was the same kind of thing. So, like, pre-release versions of, like, NCAA football 06, LA Rush, not a game a lot of people have heard of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, I have a demo of that too.
Yep. Newman's drastically off pace.
So one thing I do remember is, well, I haven't looked in a while, but there's a Gran Turismo 4 trailer on one of the demo discs. I can't find on YouTube. It's really cool. It's set to Good Days, Bad Days by Daiki Kasho. And it shows a couple of things that didn't make the final cut of Gran Turismo 4. Like Città d'Aria. There's a shot where, you know, the Impreza 04 rally car is, you know, it's a very quick shot. It rounds a corner. There's a photographer in the middle of the road, and he, like, runs off. The animation of the photographer running off is different to, you know, the ones that you eventually saw on Grand Canyon and so on. The final game didn't even have, like, photographers standing in Città d'Aria. And there's also a TV helicopter with a Gran Turismo 4 logo on it that just didn't make the cut. There are some very high quality assets in there.
That's
and I
cool.
haven't been able to find that. I need to look again, because now I say that it probably will be on YouTube, but I haven't been able to find it. I've only ever seen it on my demo disc.
Yeah, GT's got such a big fan base that typically they do. The fans do, like, archive that stuff or make, like, super long videos or, like, what changed between this demo disc and the release. GT's got an awesome community for that stuff.
Oh yeah. And, like, just in this one disc I'm looking at right now, which is Christmas 2004. Man. There's a video of the making of Tony Hawk's Underground 2. And,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
maybe that video is common knowledge through the community that enjoy those games. Maybe I'm sitting on something that no one has seen since. You know, I just don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Combat 5. I remember all of these demo discs, like, back of my hand. Yep, LA Rush. Okay. Bye-bye.
So we had, like, the same month of a demo disc. That's cool.
December 2005. Yeah.
Who died? Oh, that's Steve.
What?
Ash left.
Ash died?
Yeah, he said he was going to bed.
Oh, shit.
Is this 2003?
This would be NASCAR 06. Hi, Steve.
No. No.
You are being recorded for YouTube. You have wandered
Yeah.
into a live studio.
Don't know.
Yeah, I'm hanging out and recording a race. Steve's volume's a little low, but you'll hear what he's saying. Yeah, the demo discs were good shit. I'm trying to think of in terms of rare games. Probably IHRA 2005 for Xbox is pretty rare. From Bethesda, when Bethesda made race car games and not
Did they?
RPGs.
Well, they never made RPGs, so.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, Bethesda has a weird history where it's like adventure games, I guess. Or like pseudo RPGs.
Yeah.
Please find the
Yeah.
correct term.
I'm not even sure there's a word for it. It's just this kind of like weird half-breed that satisfies nobody.
Oh, Augie.
Mass
demo
market
of
RPG.
Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 PS2. Demo version.
Oh, that actually is rare. That's cool. That's
Hell
really
yeah.
cool. Yep.
So that is PC... No. PCSX2? No, that's the emulator. PS2 Official Magazine UK September 2002 demo disc.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that the version that was made by Black Box and
Yep.
it's different from the others?
Yep.
Yep.
And it's amazing on a PS2 emulator. Like if you
Way
can get it hooked
superior.
up, it drives amazing with a wheel too.
You know what I do have as well? So one of my favorite games is Dropship United Peace Force. It's not a game I see a lot of discussion about. I don't think it's particularly rare. It's just sort of in the shadow of the really big games at the time. But
Yeah, it's
maybe
like-
like a cult classic kind of thing. And I have a demo of that. And so there are a few changes. The main one being that the ship you pilot in this particular level, well, the ship's different, and your co-pilot's voice is a stand-in voice actress with an English accent.
It's cool.
And in the retail version, you're in the Mark II version of the ship, and you have the normal, the final voice actress. I prefer the British one, but I'm biased. But yeah, I have it's quite an obscure game, and I have an equally obscure demo of it. You know, I almost feel like I should, get these ISO'd up and put them in an emulator, maybe, these discs.
You
What
can
else
always
do I
check.
have?
There's a website called the Cutting Room Floor if you want to see if stuff is archived or not.
Ah, yeah.
They're pretty good.
F1 2001 demo, and that would probably be the SCE version. Because interestingly, in the early 2000s, there were separate F1 games coming out,
Yep.
where there was Studio Liverpool and there was EA Games of the same series at the same season. It was interesting.
Yeah, and that's how it was stateside here with like the NHL, NBA, and NFL, and MLB too. I want to say in 03 or 04, maybe both years, there were 5 different NFL games. Like, how would you even like figure out as a consumer which one to buy? And that's, I believe, why the NFL and a lot of sports sanctioning bodies ended up pursuing exclusive license agreements, because it was just, unless you were like a hardcore gamer, you'd have no idea which game to buy. It was just kind of dumb.
Yeah. So on this disc, I have a trailer of Stuntman, and I remember what this one is like. That might be pretty rare, but this won't be rare because the Half-Life community, they've archived everything. every single. I'm pretty sure they've archived every single kilobyte of every single
Oh yeah.
Half-Life game that's ever come out. But I do in fact have a March 2002 demo of Half-Life on PS2,
Oh, yeah.
which is that's the first time I ever actually played it. I don't know what the hell I was playing, but that was the first time I actually interacted with Half-Life, and that now it's one of my favorite game series. I have a demo of the original Burnout, although I don't know the game well
That's
enough
fun.
to discern any differences. Oh, yep, there's a dropship demo. I've got an EA F1 2001 demo as well. Lotus Challenge, Top Gun Combat Zones, Thunderhawk Operation Phoenix, GTC Africa.
Is Lotus Challenge just getting the goddamn thing to run?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Thanks. All these stories Ash tells about his buddy's fucking Lotus Europa V8s. Okay.
Yeah.
And I own a Jaguar, and I'm making fun of that. Like, come on.
It's
I own
alright
two
because
now.
he's got a Jag.
No. Got a couple now.
Games are fun. Games and fun.
All right.
Yeah, let me think of rare stuff on my end. I don't know like the exact OXM demo discs I have, and some of them were crap because like my tastes are pretty narrow. So like if it didn't have cars or sports, I was just like, I'm not even gonna try playing this. I have the Doom 3 Collector's Edition on original Xbox. I don't remember if I got it new or not, but it's kind of a rare release. Definitely had the orange box on the 360, which was like a legendary release.
Good man.
Yeah, we didn't know how good we had it. In the space of a month, we got like fucking Grand Theft Auto 4, Halo 3 in the orange box. Good lord.
Well, there's an amazing Cat video on that topic where he's
Yeah,
basically
I know.
like, he goes through the chronology from like 07 to 2012, I think.
Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, 3 days apart, these like two massive games came out.
I think it's like 2006. But
And
yeah, like,
he
here's-
misses
here's
stuff
one
in that
too.
video too.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just a list of stuff going
Yeah.
by. Like, good god. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
so like for reference, I got my 360 not in 05 when it came out, but in the summer of 07 when I was approaching high school. So like I bought a 360. I had PGR3 and PGR4 as my first two games, or I think PGR3 is my first game. Yep. And it was like a month later, and then PGR4 and the orange box came out at the same time. I was like, what the hell? And then Halo 3 came out, because I think Halo 3 was late September, so everyone at school is just like, oh my god, Halo 3 is amazing. I was never a Halo guy, so I didn't buy it at the time. I got into it way later with Master Chief Collection.
Aren't you always shitting up in the Master Chief Collection?
And as Halo 3 was permeating my high school, it was like a month until Call of Duty 4 came out.
Yeah.
And while this was all happening, Guitar Hero 3 is the biggest game in the world.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, what do you even play?
Exactly.
Don't forget Bioshock came out right about that time.
Yep.
Do you remember the fucking uproar about Guitar Hero? Like, oh, the kids aren't gonna learn guitar anymore. Guitar's gonna die.
And
You're
it
not
did
a
the
real
exact
guitarist.
opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was a guitar-based sim racing elitism
Yeah.
type shit. It's funny.
And then fucking what was that Guitarsmith came out? To,
Rocksmith.
Rocksmith.
Yep.
Rocksmith, yeah, to deafening silence, ironically.
No, not. Oh, are we talking Rocksmith or Rock Band? Rocksmith is the one that actually had the like
Yeah.
aux to, or the line into
Yeah. He
USB.
actually had to play the song, yeah.
And it actually taught you to play guitar, so
Yeah.
it was really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
There's a bizarre like 10-minute period where like being good at Guitar Hero made you cool and Normie wasn't.
Yes.
Normie
Yes. I distinctly remember that.
which was kind of strange in retrospect.
And I remember that was like the first. This is gonna be like kind of wild, but that was like the first glimpse we got into like what was considered now modern day like Twitch streaming, because all the Guitar Hero nerds like Strike Bowler 585, JPrez 44, I'm Chris for Life, UCog Monkey, and and then Danny GH Phenom would stream on Ustream, which was basically just like a webcam chatting platform, and they'd just turn the fucking camera around and would show them practicing like Guitar Hero runs.
Huh.
And that was like the first Twitch streaming, and it was shitty. It was like 320 by whatever resolution it would be. But you would just hang out and watch like all the Guitar Hero nerds like try and like nail a practice section, and then go and run for a FC. I used to hang out in those.
When was Twitch then? 2010?
Twitch came on really late. Twitch was like, I want to say 2015.
No.
Twitch was originally called Justin TV.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it?
Like
You
when
remember?
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember.
Okay.
I swear it was like 2010, 2011 when that came out. And didn't really catch on like 2014-ish, I want to say, the absolute latest.
I miss the 360 era so much.
Yeah. You know what UCog Monkey's doing nowadays?
He's Sim Racer.
He
Yep.
is. Yeah,
cool
he's
stuff.
like an SRO champion. He's
That's
an
cool stuff.
ACC sweat. Yeah. You got to be pretty special to be, like a Guitar Hero world champion and then be a world champion in a completely other discipline. It's really crazy. He's done races with James.
Yeah, I think I saw his name pop up like in relation to him. I was like,
Yeah.
is that you, Cog Monkey? And it was like, oh my god, it is. I Bite Pretty Hard was, I think, one of the original drummers, and I think he still streams. Toy Machine, I think, still streams. I know when Rock Band came out, because the drums are essentially one-to-one with playing real drums, all the drummers were like, this is amazing.
I want to say like Rock Band 3 when they added the cymbals, maybe.
Well, you could get, I think it was in Rock Band 1's lifespan where they started selling pro drums with just like another MIDI output, and it was the same 4 colors, but they added,
Yeah,
holy shit, okay, tires are getting a little worn. Gotta hold on to it. Okay, I think it's better now. Yeah, the whole Xbox 360 era was just so beautiful. Like the console was like had the perfect UI, and then every time they redesigned it, it was actually like kind of a little better. I love the blades, but
I was gonna say I was looking back at it. I have a sentimental place in my heart for Blades, but I look back and it's like, wow, this is not great.
it was very. So when it came out, like I remember playing it in like Zellers and Walmart and stuff like that when the 360 first came out. And, like, the blades were exactly what was needed. Like, it was the coolest art style.
I was about to say it felt right, but actual practical utility wasn't amazing.
Yeah,
Wasn't
and then
too
every
cool about it.
redesign, I think they called it, like, the new Xbox experience, and even with the avatars. So I remember, dude, everyone hated the avatars when they were first announced, but then you actually got a chance to customize them, and you're like, wait, mine actually kind of looks like me. This is kind of neat. I liked
I
them.
remember everyone being fucking livid at the time. Like, what is this Nintendo Wii casual shit?
Yeah, so that's where shit started hitting the fan, is when they came out with Kinect. Kinect was kind of the beginning of the end.
It's kind of bizarre watching everyone try to replicate like the Wii without understanding why it worked.
Yeah. They were just, and it was very much a copy the back of the box. It was like, Nintendo Wii has avatars, we need avatars.
100%.
It wasn't
Which
like any
ironically,
thought into like, you know.
The Xbox avatars were way better than Mii's, in my opinion.
Yep. No, I agree.
Better functionality, better integrated, more utility, more future-proof too. Like Mii's still look like they're fucking 2006.
Yeah. No, that's what I was saying. Like my avatar on my Xbox 360 account, like genuinely looks like me. It was awesome, and they had a lot of like cool customization with it. So like the Mii is just kind of, you're stuck with like the default customization, but the 360, they would put out like paid DLC or like microtransaction stuff that you could get for your avatar, and it was always like 50 Microsoft points. It was basically the equivalent of 50 cents or like 25 cents. But like, let's say you bought a bunch of shit with like Microsoft points you got for your birthday, so you had to buy them in like cards, right? So like bulk.
Yeah.
You'd spend like, let's say you got 2,800 points, you'd spend like 2,400 on just DLC and stuff you needed, And it's like, well, I got 400 left over. Like, I'll get my guy like an Edmonton Oilers shirt. Like, that's kind of cool, and like a hat and stuff like that. You could get there's a Bigfoot toy, so you could like drive a Bigfoot in the dashboard.
Yeah, I had that.
And it was legitimately Bigfoot. Like it was the right body shell and the right stripe colors. I'm like, how'd they get away with that? And you could also unlock stuff as you played. So like if you finished Dirt 3's campaign, you got a Dirt 3 fire suit.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep. Okay, I have to pit this lap. I think. I do. Fly by these dudes. Lap car's blowing up. AI can drop cylinders in this game, which is kind of neat. But this will be the last pit stop, I believe. Please don't hit me. Wedge. Last pit stop. What other rare games? Well, I'm pretty sure I'm one of the few people who bought Monster Jam. Actually, you know what? It might have sold okay on the 360. I remember looking that up on VG charts, and it did very well sales-wise for the 360. Yeah, the Activision Monster Jam game.
I just pirated it. And it ran like
from
crap on
PC?
my laptop. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely had Path of Destruction.
Those models got everywhere too. I don't know what made those models so rip happy, but those, like Grand Theft Auto 4, San Andreas 5, Flat Out. I don't know what it was, but
Because the game released on PS2, and people figured out how to use PCSX2 to rip models.
no, they're the PC version. They're way higher res than the PS2 version.
Oh shit.
I don't know. There's just some models that I've still seen them getting kicked around. It's like 20 years ago. They weren't very good either.
I didn't mind the MJ 2007 game. I bought that. It's a bit of fun.
It was indeed a game. Yep,
One of the games of all time.
there was.
Urban Assault's a little better. More trucks.
More interesting tracks too. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
a lot.
Really stepped up their track design.
It had my boy Jurassic Attack in it. We all know what
Yep.
happened there.
Yep.
Legend was born.
They had the two World Finals Encore trucks. They had Spitfire and Backwards Bob, like before.
Yeah, 'cause they were intended to compete the next season, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then didn't. Then we have the inferior dragon. Thanks, Bill.
Oh yeah, because they changed the name, right?
Sure did. Spitfire was so much better. Why?
Spitfire just kind of made sense.
All their names now are so. It's just like a generic placeholder noun, and they just keep rolling with it.
But you know what? Historically, that's always been Feld's and Clear Channel's like naming convention and just IP creation tactics. So if you look into like when they first started taking over Monster Jam and rolling out their own IPs, like what was Rage and Steel really? Like, are you kidding me? Like,
I distanced my.
Like I could see that working with a cool livery. The name was great.
Vet King was essentially let's just draw flames on Sting. Inferno was we lost the license to WCW Nitro Machine, so we're just gonna call the truck Inferno.
Pet King looks like an old gasser though. Like that was totally on brand. I had no problem with that name.
El Toro Loco is just we drew flames on Bulldozer.
Yep.
So there's it seems to be quite difficult to actually come up with like a good monster truck name.
It really isn't. I think the problem they're having is that they're afraid of anything's dangerous, and the best monster trucks always have like a connotation of danger around them.
Yeah.
And they're just like, no, it'll offend someone, or it's not marketable, or whatever the fuck.
So that, and a lot of great monster truck names and IPs come on the back of actual IPs. Like, technically, like, one of the greatest monster trucks of all time is just the Goldberg truck.
Yeah.
And, like, that is unfortunately tied to WF Racing or WWE, sorry, and a wrestler's likeness. Same thing with Medusa. Like, I wouldn't consider it a great truck, but it's like, you know, that was just essentially a wrestler's, like, her personality in the ring. What other like big trucks? High Roller was essentially just an ad for like the Vegas World Finals, but
Yeah, I
like
remember
because the
that.
truck ended up winning so much and doing so well, it's like, well, you can't just kind of bring back a truck meant to advertise a race that doesn't exist anymore, you know? And even like when you go back into the 90s before like Feld and Live Nation and Clear Channel were like kind of involved in this, like Barefoot, the red Dodge of Barefoot wasn't just Fred Schaefer's just idea, it was a partnership with Dodge, straight up.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah, he had factory support from Dodge. So he was always a Chevy guy, that's why the truck was blue in a Chevy. And then Dodge partnered with him for like 4 or 5 years, so he ran the Dakota, and then they used it similar to how Bigfoot unveiled the F-150, the new F-150 redesign. That was what Barefoot did with Dodge, and it was like a genuine manufacturer war in monster trucks. And then when the Dodge sponsorship ended, I think it was kind of nasty, and they pulled support randomly, so that's why he runs some like blacked out noses sometimes, if you've seen pictures. He's pissed at Dodge.
Huh. I'm wondering, did he run Hemis before? Because he always ran Keith Black Hemis under Barefoot.
You
Oh,
kind
that
of
was part of
so in what you're doing in any blown alcohol application, you're probably going to be running a Hemi. Like even in NHRA,
Yeah,
every
other
engine
truck
is just a spec Hemi, and it's just a Ford Hemi. You know.
But yeah, but like every other monster truck ever is a World Products aluminum big block Chevy.
Yeah.
I guess they would have been iron blocks back in the day, but you know. I think the Hall brothers run Hemis. The Black Stallion crowd runs big block Fords somehow. Didn't
I
they
mean,
also
you
run
can.
Hemis?
It just turns into parts availability, right?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that was part of the sponsorship, like they demanded Mopar power.
I'm sure at the Hall Bros that's what it is right now. But again, the parts availability probably makes that really reasonable.
Plus, they were reproing second-gen Hemis at the time. I don't think they're doing that anymore. I don't know if that was the block Paul was using or not.
This race is going to get spicy because I'm actually a couple seconds back, and I got to start monkey swinging in the draft here. What are you doing? Lap car just randomly blocked the two. Okay. I think I might have this on strategy because I saved enough fuel. We'll see though.
Three. Oh, fuck.
Feld's had some good IPs over the years though. Like Maximum Destruction, I think was a good call.
Very good.
I think I got cut off mid-sentence because my old PC doesn't like me installing things and
Yeah.
talking at the same time.
Yeah, you went robot mode, and then we just didn't hear you, and Steve picked up the conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to distance myself from any X about Monster Jam was bad. I was not part of that conversation.
I'm Raging Steel, biggest fan.
I drive
Yeah.
Rage and Steel now. I have the exact fucking truck. It's too dark of a shade of gray, but yeah, I drive Rage and Steel now. 01 Silverado.
Imagine it gets picked up for Viagra wanted into Monster Jam, it gets renamed Raging Boner.
Oh, stop. Well, our meme that we wanted to get back into BeamNG and run online and have custom trucks and stuff like that, but use really like lame and just strange sponsorships. Viagra truck's not the worst idea, and you just paint it up like Mark Martin's old car.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
would be
people
pretty cool.
who have gotten this far into this awful Xfinity race or Busch Series race at Daytona. Everyone in this chat right now that's like said hi. We all used to play Riggs or Rod's Monster Trucks together when it was brand new. Like we were the first group of people to race it online.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, and like yeah, if you go back 15 years, there's video of us on YouTube. So we recently got back into like BeamNG like within the past weekend and kind of toyed with the idea of joining a league and as like these like established veterans, but we do it with like really dumb truck names, and
Yeah,
not
like
like dumb as in like attempting to be a redneck, but like monster truck racing has been dominated by like interesting sponsorships. You know, like, and you'll see a lot of sponsor trucks on the tour. Like Sobe had a truck, Suzuki had a truck, Travis Pastrana had a truck. So what if we went in the other direction and had just really strange and like not particularly captivating sponsors that got into monster truck racing, like TurboTax, you know, or
TurboTax is a good one.
Yeah, TurboTax or like insurance companies, or just like very boring
Waitrose.
monster truck sponsorships.
Safe Auto. Oh wait.
Yeah. So Safe Auto is actually a good example of that happening in real life. The Safe Auto Minimizer was named after an insurance company, how it would minimize your payments on car insurance. And it just had a bunch of flames on it. It was a good looking truck too, that's the funny part.
Yeah, the livery is great. It's just Minimizer. Like, I think, Ethan, you suggested the Safe Auto Slasher, which was perfect.
Yes.
Slashing
Really,
insurance
so
rates.
those prices.
Yes, so much
Yep.
better. But see what I mean? That's the thing. That's what I mentioned earlier. Like, all these corporate trucks don't have that element of danger to the name because I don't know, they're afraid of it somehow.
I think an
That's the best.
Aquafresh or Crest Bulldozer would be kind of neat, because you could use the teeth, or like a zombie. Yeah, you could use Barry Musawir's zombie as like a template for like a toothpaste sponsored truck.
Skincare.
Skincare. Yeah, Head and Shoulders
Maybelline.
shampoo truck. Dude, it was so bad. Like that has been with me for like days now. That topic. So like
Yeah.
I was taking a dump a few nights ago, and I was just like picking up like random shampoo bottles and be like, I wonder what this would look like on a monster truck. This is a weird rabbit hole, man.
See, the trick is, it has to be credible enough to actually happen in real life, but stupid enough that it's kind of fascinating and like, how the fuck would that actually happen?
The WD-40 lubricator.
You know,
That
like a
makes sense.
shampoo truck. If you had like one of
Oh.
the female drivers, that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah. This might make too much sense. What about big dick tools? I'm serious. Ethan knows what I'm on about.
No, I do not know what you're on about, Steve.
You don't have big. You've never used a big dick tool?
The WD-40
I have a big dick
lubricator.
tool, but
I'll be the judge.
you fucking won't. My girlfriend will be, and is.
I'm getting demolished in Elden Ring. I'm very upset.
The Wellman Vitamizer. Vitamins. Supplementizer. The Remington Shavers Mohawk Warrior.
I love the fact that they got a Great Clip sponsorship out of that.
Here's what
That
Yeah.
is
actually
that is
happened.
so perfect. Like that's like the opposite of what we're talking about, you know? Like sometimes when Monster Jam gets it, it's just like that is fucking awesome. Like I'm surprised like Monster Mutt's not sponsored by like a dog food company or something like that, you know? Like the PetSmart
Maybe.
Monster Mutt. That would just make too much sense.
I would have gone with Pedigree Chum personally, but
I don't remember if it's worthwhile to draft or pass people in this. I'm trying to keep an eye on the Delta, and I'm not really catching the 9, but it seems like he's going to pit early. Hoping, anyway. Just boost the 2. Let's go for a ride.
okay.
Okay, this is promising. I cut off like a second from the Delta in one lap. And then when we get in range, I need to start monkey swinging, really get the top speed up. I think I can make this work. I think I can mount a comeback here.
Alright, do it then.
Time to go.
Looks like I could build a huge run here. Cut out. Tuck in line here. Yeah, look, I'm down to 5 seconds now. Ooh. Build momentum in the motor. Let's go. I don't know which way to go around you. That's scary. Oh god, look at this run. This is perfect how this played out. I am fucking flying. Get out of the way. Actually, no, I might need you. Hold on. That's an issue. You're not going anywhere. Lost a lot of momentum doing that. This game definitely has a little bit of dirty air, which is kind of cool.
That's surprising for the EA years.
Yeah, Tiburon as a development studio always put a lot of like little details into their stuff, even if it was kind of an arcade game.
Tiburon, what else have they done? Got some there.
Tiburon is almost exclusively NASCAR, NCAA football, and then Madden.
Huh.
I think
Didn't
they
they
did. They also did the Superman game. That was
Really?
a launch title for the 360.
That's a
Very
peculiar
yeah,
portfolio.
yeah. And it did not score very well.
You don't say. Brothers, how do you do a Superman game? Like, there was an interview with the Superman 64, I think lead, and he just said outright, like, either you're perfectly invulnerable or you're not, in which case you're not Superman.
Yep.
How do you make a game?
Yeah. How do you make a game that's essentially like Gmod powers? You know, it's a very valid question.
Apparently, flying through a ring was not the answer, but design problem still fucking. The design problem endures. I guess you do like a point-and-click adventure game or something, but
Yeah, Superman's not really something that works in a gameplay aspect because like the whole point of Superman as a character is that he's just OP.
yeah.
And it's just like the ridiculous situations he gets himself into and then or has to like
Yeah.
bail people out of, and he's just like, don't worry, I have like some obtuse power that solves exactly that.
Yeah. Behold, the inflation beam. It gets rid of inflation.
Oh, leader
Yeah.
just bit. I might have this. That's promising.
The Silver Age was a ride, man. It's kind of interesting, like, the Silver Age Superman, they basically did the clickbait thing of, like, inventing powers every week for Superman, so you'd have to buy the new issue to see what the new power was.
Yep.
What's old is new again, I suppose. It's kind of wild that like the whole superhero industry is still a thing. It's like the reason that both Marvel and DC have a bunch of gorilla characters is there's just one comic issue of something that had a gorilla in it and inexplicably sold gangbusters for no reason.
Kids
Since
love it.
everyone put yeah, but that means that everyone put gorillas into their story. Gorillas, gorillas, gorillas. So now we have like Gorilla Garage and
I could never do superheroes as I was a kid because, to me, like, and this is one of the many times I realized I might be on the autism spectrum. It never made sense to me like how it was supposed to be a captivating story when like the superheroes just OP, and I'm like, well, they just always win in the end, so why am I like reading this? You know, like they don't lose, and that's probably why I liked Star Wars growing up, is because like the good guys lose once in a while.
yeah, I mean the good comics do that. I think that's why Invincible is so good. I've been really enjoying that. Why was that not a backstep?
Okay, leaders are all going in, so I have. If I just save fuel, I'm Gucci. Because we just took the lead
Yep,
again.
you win.
Yep. I don't know, it's cool to show off a game once in a while and show people I still exist.
Yeah.
Wow, that took 3/4 of my health bar.
Imagine we're 70 years old and we're still fucking around on R Factor.
I don't
It'd be
know.
like R Factor 4 at that point, but yeah, it's potentially.
Yeah. Le Mans
Oh.
Ultimate 2.
I'm losing my drafting partner. That's not good.
Rest in peace.
Ripperoni. Yeah, I kind of want the 64 car to be here. Because this car does burn fuel when you're driving by yourself more than when you're in the draft, so.
Steve is playing Elden Ring for the uninitiated.
Yep, and the Godskin duo are fucking demolishing me. I'm extremely upset.
I need to go shopping tomorrow. I have no chips. Sorry, crisps. I forget my Englishness when you guys are around.
Who are
Oh, I got a brand new combine harvester.
well, now let's get together. Perfect harmony.
Ooh ah ooh ah.
Speaking of weird gimmicks that never should have gotten very far but did anyway, the Wurzels.
The what?
The Wurzels.
You never heard of the Wurzels, boy lover?
No.
The whole joke is it's just they're covering crappy pop songs, except you're like a western farmer. West country farmer.
Yeah, Midwestern.
This
That's the
country.
thing.
One of the two. I don't know, the fucking rural place, you know.
I like how someone invented Nickelback 2, and it's massively popular now.
Is it? Who?
Bill Murray, American Motorsports. It's just Nickelback.
No, it really isn't. Like, maybe American Motorsports, but like if you listen to their back catalogue, it's not Nickelback.
Okay.
Like a Hogman's Delight. I never heard Nickelback put out anything like that.
Well, the thing is,
where-
Nickelback took themselves too seriously, so that's like the key difference.
Where is the sax solo in Nickelback?
I have no fucking idea what you people are talking about.
Bill Murray is a very good band.
Is he an actor?
Yeah, it's
Bill
spelled
Murray.
differently, and it's the
Yeah.
guy from I think Attack started like a.
Yep.
And it
vocalist
sounds
and
kind of
Attack.
like Nickelback, but not really Nickelback. It's
No,
like a
it's
guy. It's like a guy playing up on like the American redneck stereotype, and like
Okay.
he combines, I guess, gent with like modern pop country, and it sounds like you'd think the combination doesn't make a lot of sense. To me, it just sounds like Nickelback.
I put it in general for you, Steve. Just hear it out. Hear it out, honestly.
It's cool. And like the song titles are very like Midwest emo band.
Okay.
So like the song will be called like 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers, which is just a basketball team name, and it's like a ballad about like breakups.
Okay.
What is the traffic jam here? Oh, Newman's still running out here with 7 cylinders. Solid.
Just wait until the Kevin James command in that
Oh
song.
yeah.
I love that he put that in.
This is empty-handed, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Better Hell is
Better
my
Hell was
favorite, 'cause-
crazy. I must have listened to that like 5 fucking times as it came out.
Jesus.
Dude, I discovered that through Instagram Reels,
Yep.
and it was like a month before release. That fucking chorus was stuck in my head. He's a genius.
Well, it feels like every 5 seconds the song swaps between like Weird Al parody song and like, wait, no, this is catchy. This is really good lyrics.
The video is amazing as well. It's just like zoomed in, stabilized as he's mowing his lawn.
I guess it'd be more akin to like if Nickelback didn't take themselves seriously and just like knew that everyone hated them and it was like, what is like the weirdest redneck song we can put out that's kind of catchy?
Maybe, but if you listen to the really sort of earlier ones than this one, I think this is this sort of breakout album.
Yeah.
But the earlier stuff is like unhinged. Like it's such a combination of genres. There's sax solos. There's
Yeah, he seems to swap genres mid-song and just like combines genres mid-song too.
yeah,
It's-
like
yeah.
Better Hell is there's sort of heavy gent, and then there's this gorgeous sort of twangy Nashville guitar solo over the top of it. It just fits so well.
And
when
it's
it
like
shouldn't.
Midwest emo lyrics. Dude, it makes no sense to describe, but when you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah, this is great.
Oh, it's so good. Some of the old song titles are great. I mean, am I still signed in on Spotify on my old PC? Yes, I am. Oh, fuck yeah, he's in Europe. Absolutely cranking my motherfucking hog.
Oh, is that where that came from?
Yep.
Okay.
I seriously dislike most other humans.
Same.
Midwest lawn care dad who smashed brews. What's the other one? Goblin hours. Corn-fed yetis. Muscle-bound denizen. Anabolic spudsman. Vascular demigod. I wish I had this kind of unhinged creativity. Lord Farquadzilla.
It's pretty good.
My pie on a bit.
Isn't Quadzilla like the name of like a intermission act in Monster Jam from like the 90s? I think it might
Probably.
be. I think it might be.
Large throbbing positive mindset. A cowboy's heavy load. That's a live album.
Speaking of Cowboys Heavy Load, I told you that I found out Grant McDonald plays Assetto Corsa.
Oh, no way. No, you didn't tell me this.
I never told you this, so I would say about 3 years ago, I was in a Ferrari 458 GT2 league on Sim Racing System, and of course you can run custom car skins. And this is in my like 3D painting phase, so I had I think Mudbox installed, and I'd learned how to like make base schemes with Mudbox and things like that, and it's tedious. It's not very fun, but I did. And I was like, me and the guys I was racing with had just discovered Ram Ranch. We were super late to the party, but we're like, this is the funniest thing ever. I was 28 years old, so of course, like, this shows my overall maturity level. So I ended up making a Ferrari 458 GT2 Spotify / Grant McDonald, like, car. And I painted it up not like, taking 5 minutes and just making a meme car, but like made it look like it was something that could plausibly run in like ALMS from that era. And I did like proper number plate, and I even had like the Big Machine record logo on it to like make it like, role play that like Grant McDonald got signed by Big Machine Records, which is Taylor Swift's old label, and the guy that it's Scott Borchetta who runs at Nashville Fairgrounds and is a cajillionaire from the music industry. So I made the car, won the championship with it, and it was really funny. Got a lot of funny reactions. And then I just uploaded it on Race Department because I'm like, like this is kind of funny. It's not a bad looking car, so like maybe someone will find it funny. And then I posted it in the Grant McDonald subreddit, and he replied to it. And he's like, been playing with this on Imola all afternoon. I was like, what? So Grant McDonald is an AC fanboy.
What if Grant McDonald was the one that came into that T125 Spa practice server and gave us the downforce hack? And just
You never know,
vanished and
man.
never went in the league?
That was a
Maybe
funny.
we raced him.
That was the funniest incident. So yeah, so this is a couple of years ago now too, when we were still big on SRS. We were practicing for this is actually like 2018 or 19. This is a long time ago. Never mind.
Oh yeah.
We were testing the Lotus T125 for a league and made really good gains and had a really good setup. And we're just in the practice server by ourselves. And some guy comes in, and it wasn't even like a league practice server. It was just like an open public lobby for that car. And a guy comes in, and he's like, "Your times are really fast, but like, have you guys set like the main plate on the rear wing to 0?" And we're like, "No." He's like, "You should. Bye." Never saw him again. Never ran in the league or anything like that. And we found out that if you just build a shitload of rake into the car and have the rear end plate at 0, it flew. And we kind of humiliated people.
Not a shitload of rake, a shitload of rake paint. So you'd slam the rear end to stall the diffuser, and then you could run the rear wing flap at 0. So it's like you had the DRS basically open,
Yeah.
but the diffuser was so overpowered that the back end of the car would stick.
Yep.
And you didn't have to use DRS. There was no speed difference. But when I toggled the button, no difference.
Yep, I remember that.
And I don't think they ever fixed it. So if you're racing the T125 and you want an unfair advantage and you want to be a prick, there you go. Care of us. Have fun.
Well,
I need to build that setup again and like sort of perfect it just to have it. I remember it being really controllable as well. Like it was sort of loose, but it was
Yeah,
nice.
we just murdered people in that. But that was kind of the theme on SRS. Is just anytime we ran, there were very few people who could beat us.
Yeah.
Maybe Sayip. Sayip in his prime was really quick. And Moses Choi
Yeah,
was his buddy from Ontario, I think.
Base Moses, the Moses strategy at Riverside. Man. The 1 liter Moses strat. Man. Such good times. James
Wanna go.
Flynn, great too. He's still around. Is that smoke?
Someone blew up. Well, we are going to get it here. 30 seconds ahead.
If you've skipped ahead to see the end, remember to like and subscribe. But
Newman's still out there
don't
with 7
because
cylinders.
this guy just not upload, so don't subscribe. Like the video if you liked it. I encourage you to dislike it and don't subscribe.
yeah. This sucks.
Yeah,
It's alright.
terrible. I mean, he had to rope us in for content. That's how, this channel's gone to the dogs.
I lapped everyone up to 6th place.
Oh my
Ouch.
god.
Ouch. Thanks, EA.
Where the fuck am I going?
Wow, lots of ally sponsorships. They just sponsor one car now.
Stop. Yeah, this is the Rivals and Alliances feature. It was kind of neat. It doesn't really do a whole lot. Like, it really only did something if you were like 6 and crashed into people. But if you play the game honestly, there's not a lot that really justifies it. We went caution free. Total race time 90 minutes. Margin of victory 29 seconds. 15 lead changes. We didn't really outright dominate. We just had better pit strategy. 33 laps led. Highlight reel. Yeah, me hitting the wall was like one of the only interesting things that happened all race. It only had 2 reels. Wow. Wow. Okay.
fuck do I get over there?
Cool. Well, I guess that's the end of the race. Bye.